Yeah, and then just to frame it this way, it's what you're already talking about, but to frame it this way, a lot of claimants are they're feeling pretty defeated, pretty discouraged when they get to the hearing level, just because they've already gotten two denials and it's been so long. Just keep in mind, like, this is what we've been gearing up toward. Hopefully, we win it initial. If we don't win it initial, hopefully we can win it at the appeal. But realistically, when we file a case, we are from the ground up. We're preparing for the hearing. And so you might be 14 months or 18 months or 22 months into this, and that's absurd. But just keep in mind, like, we're here. This is really important. We've made it to this point. So I just wanted to frame it that way.
Yeah, and it is absurd. And I know that this doesn't make it any better, but, it's absurd for you and at any given time, I don't know, 250,000 people in the United States who are in the same boat.
Yeah.
Just because you're waiting just in our area, and we live in a kind of a mid-sized metropolitan area. Even in our area, we have two hearing offices that are within 20 miles of each other, and each of them have like 5,000 pending cases. So just in our area, not my state, but just our area, and we're not a huge area, 10,000 cases are pending. And statewide, I don't know at the hearing level. I do know at the lower levels, at any given time statewide, there's about 130,000 cases pending at any given time. So it's precious little comfort to you to tell you that other people are having to wait a stupid long time. But the fact of the matter is that other people are having to wait a stupid long time.
Yeah.
And that's part of the Social Security disability process.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that just because it's taking a long time, that doesn't mean that something is going horribly wrong.
Oh, right.
I think we have a lot of clients, after 3 months of their case pending, they're like, what's going on? What's wrong with the case?
Right.
And it is ridiculous, but there's nothing wrong with the case. It's just they're understaffed. There's more disabled people than there are Social Security workers to be able to process that.
Oh, sure.
So 3 months in, that doesn't surprise us. It ticks us off, but it doesn't surprise us. We see that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about the stats that I just gave you about our hearing office. So both of those hearing offices, I believe the full staffing is 10 judges. And I know for a fact that they hear anywhere from 6 to 7 cases a day. Not every day, but 6 or 7 cases a day. Best case scenario, think about that. You have 5,000 cases pending, and in a week, you're able to get about 400.
Yeah.
You're able to clear out about 400 with a fully staffed hearing office. And there's going to be that many cases coming from the lower levels, because the lower levels, they deny the vast majority.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are persistent, which again, that's the secret to disability, if you're persistent, you're appealing, and it's going to the hearing level, and it's going to be stuck in that queue with the other 5,000 people.
Right.
Maybe more if you're in a really large metropolitan area. But yeah, trusting the process and knowing what you're there for. You were there to tell the judge your symptoms, and your symptoms as they apply to your day-to-day life. How do my systems impact my ability to cook, to clean, to drive, to shop, to interact with people?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want people coming over to my house? Well, no. I feel so bad about things. I don't want to interact with anybody. I don't want them to see me. Don't want them to talk to me, and I don't want to talk to them. Stuff like that. So, okay, this is your opportunity to get to talk to the judge about that. What this is not an opportunity for, and I definitely want to put this out there, and we see it from time to time. Thank goodness not a whole lot, but we do see it from time to time, that because the claimant can choose their manner of appearance. And we've talked about, since February of 2020, I think I've had 5 face-to-face hearings. Before COVID, almost every case I went in, I put on a suit, and I went in and presented the case face-to-face. That's kind of how they were. And then in COVID, that changed, and they started doing phone hearings. And the administration realized that their accuracy rate was not impacted at all. The judges liked it for the most part. There are some judges that like putting on the robe and being seen. Okay. But most of the judges like being able to just hang out at their house and have the hearing. Representatives, for the most part, like to hang out at their house and do hearings by phone. So that has basically become the default manner of appearance by phone. But you can do it by video. They use Microsoft Teams, which rarely works. And then you have the absolute right, you as the claimant have the absolute right to have a face-to-face hearing if you want. And what we have found is some claimants, if they are so angry that they were denied at the initial and then again at the reconsideration level, they request a face-to-face hearing. And of course, I work for you, you don't work for me. I can advise you, hey, listen, I live 400 miles from you, and it's going to be a hardship for me to get there. Why do you want to have a face-to-face hearing? And then it's almost always the same thing. I want to look somebody in the eye. These people who've denied me. And I'm like, let's
Slow down.
Let's slow down and let's calm down, because is that why you want to go in? You want to give the judge a piece of your mind, let them know you realize that the judge had nothing to do with the lower level denials. Some of the first words out of the judge's mouths are going to be, I am not bound by those decisions. I am not even influenced by those decisions. Because he or she didn't have anything to do with those decisions. And then he's going to say, or she's going to say, and I'm here to make a new independent decision based on the medical records, your testimony, and Social Security law.
Yep.
It's its own animal. It is not influenced by the fact that the lower levels denied you twice. And you come to a hearing wanting to get a pound of flesh from the judge for those denials. One, you won't be able to. It won't happen. And two, if you open your mouth and just start giving them grief about how stupid Social Security is and how evil they are for denying you, you've lost your case. That's just going to happen. You're going to lose, because we're not there to basically, berate Social Security. Social Security judges, they're not there to be punching bags for you because you're angry that you got denied at the lower levels. And so if I get even the inkling that the reason you want a face-to-face hearing is so you can let the judge have it, I'll probably quietly but professionally bow out after telling you do this, and it's a fool's errand. You do this, what you think is going to happen, that you're going to get through to them now. They're going to see how mad you are. They're going to see the damage that those lower level decisions did to you and your family, that somehow that the judge is going to take responsibility for that. He had nothing to do with it. It's not going to happen. So after I try to convince you, man, if that's the reason you want a face-to-face hearing, I don't want any part of it. Let's do a phone hearing. And if you're like, nope, I want a face-to-face hearing, I will probably just withdraw from your case.
Yeah.
Because there is really no place in a hearing for that kind of, I'm going to let them have it and stuff like that. I've had some claimants in the hearing threaten the judge, and it
doesn't go over well.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a 0% success rate when you basically, want to threaten the judge. I had one judge here, face-to-face, long before COVID hit, and my client had he had a diagnosis of a personality disorder, but there was really nothing in the file that showed that he was violent or anything like that. And the judge was questioning him about, what are some of the symptoms you have from this personality disorder? And he's like, well, like right now, I'm so angry. And the judge is like, well, okay, all right. Well, what's going on? Well, I'm so angry. I'm feeling like coming across this table and just punching you right in the face. And I'm sitting next to my client, and I looked at him like
what?
this, and then I looked at the judge. The judge never even looked up, and he said, I highly recommend that you don't do that, because I won't just sit here. I'm like, we lost the case.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I'm like, why did you tell the judge you wanted to go punch him in the face? Well, that's just the way I felt. And you felt the need to share that with him. Okay, well, I don't think it's going to go well for us. And like 2 weeks later, we got the denial. Are you going to appeal my case? No. No, you testified that you wanted to punch somebody in the face for no reason. No, I'm not going to appeal your case. But anyway, it goes nowhere. If you think that having a face-to-face hearing, you're just going to get your case or your point across or your case across or your symptoms across better, I would say 99% of the time that's not true. I think we've talked about this since COVID. I have had one case, just one, where I felt that if we'd have been face to face, it probably would have gone better. My lady had, my client, she had horrible varicosities in her legs.
Yeah.
And the hearing was held in the summertime, but they weren't doing face to face hearings. COVID had just hit. I think this is probably 2021. And if we would have gone in and it was summertime, I would have asked her to wear shorts, just so when you walk in, the judge sees her legs are gray. Like from the thigh down, her legs are gray. They kind of look like somebody's done makeup on The Walking Dead on her legs. It's horrible. But we had a phone hearing. And so I ended up arguing for that, and we lost the case. And I appealed it by, asking her, take some photos. Just, take a photo with your phone, email it to me. I'll upload it to the file. And that case is still wending its way through federal court right now. But I think maybe, don't know, but maybe that would have helped if we had a face-to-face hearing. But for the vast majority of cases, like I said, 99%, having the hearing by phone is just as good as having one face-to-face. And again, if you want one face-to-face, it's your right. And if I think you're giving me a good reason for it, I will fly or drive to wherever that hearing is, and I will present it, because I have presented, several face-to-face hearings, not many, but I think 5, and they're all that I have to travel to, to do. But I will say, of those 5, none of them were necessary. Yeah. We could have done it by phone, and it was hardship for everybody. But back to my point. The purpose for a hearing is not for you to grieve or to air your grievances with Social Security. Keeping in mind that if I appealed your case to the hearing level, that was an airing of our grievances. The denial was unjust. We don't agree with it. We want a hearing before an administrative law judge. We don't want a hearing before an administrative law judge to re-argue with the lower level that denied you, because they're done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to argue the facts of the case, and my client is going to testify to the symptoms that they have. And you, a new and independent decision maker, is going to get to hear these facts for the first time, and you're going to be able to make a decision based on better evidence than just the paper file that the lower levels denied my clients on. That's the purpose. And again, going back to our question at hand, how do you prepare for a hearing? Know what its purpose is. The purpose is not, I'm going to stick it to them. I'm going to let them, no. That's over, And the lower levels, they did what they do. And it's nationwide. There are some lower levels that allow more than others. But for the most part, at the initial and the reconsideration level, it's a paper review. You fill out some forms. They get your medical records. And they make a decision, which is usually pretty garbage.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I don't like it, but that's the way it is. And the hearing is a whole new monster. It's not like that. It is not just a paper review. It's a place where you get to interact with the decision maker in real time, whether it's by phone or video or face-to-face. You get to interact with them in real time. You get to have a conversation with them. They get to follow up questions. They get to ask questions to clarify things, which is wonderful. You don't get that on a form. You wrote something on a form. Well, did she mean this or did she mean that? I don't know. Well, in a hearing, wait a minute, did you mean this? Well, I meant, and then you explain. It's like, okay, we're having a conversation. Yep. You're getting the information across so much better. And again, just look at the statistics. They don't lie. And your chance of winning never gets better than it is at the hearing. Therefore, take advantage of it. Don't go at it in a very adversarial, mad way. Go at it. I'm going to explain myself. I'm going to tell you what my symptoms are. I'm going to tell you what my life has been like for the last 2 or 3 years or however long you've been disabled. And then when I cross-examine you, I'm going to make sure that you get those points across to the judge.
If you have a question about your disability case, give us a call at 615-453-9151 Monday through Friday, or click the link in the description of this video.